There's a flat stone tool that costs less than $1. You can find it at any Asian market, and when you drag it across your face in a specific pattern for 6 minutes a day, it triggers something that no injectable, no serum, and no $12,000 facelift can replicate. It manually forces stagnant lymphatic fluid out of your facial tissue. It floods your dermis with fresh, oxygenated blood, and it activates your body's own collagen repair response, without a single chemical entering your skin. I'm talking about the puffiness under your eyes that makes you look exhausted even after 8 hours of sleep, the deepening nasolabial folds that foundation settles into by noon, that soft, undefined jawline that wasn't there 5 years ago, the dull grayish tone that no vitamin C serum has ever actually fixed. As Chinese women used this tool for over 2,000 years. It was documented in medical texts during the Ming Dynasty. Vietnamese healers independently developed the same technique. Indonesian practitioners arrived at it separately, and Japanese beauty traditions refined a nearly identical method centuries ago. 5 cultures, 5 independent discoveries, 1 conclusion. Then the cosmetic industry did the math. Americans alone spent over $16 billion on cosmetic procedures in 2023. Botox injections account for billions of that, and they have to be repeated every 3 to 4 months. A tool that costs $1 and gives you a visible lift in 6 minutes? That's not innovation to them. That's an existential threat. They didn't stop recommending it because it failed. They stopped talking about it because it worked too well. This is the story of Gua Sha, the ancient lymphatic technique that the cosmetic procedure industry buried under a mountain of injectable revenue. If you're new here, I'm a dermatologist and functional nutrition practitioner who left her own practice after 25 years because I couldn't keep prescribing what didn't work while ignoring what did. Subscribe, because what you're about to learn is the kind of knowledge that disappears when no one fights to keep it visible. The earliest recorded use of therapeutic scraping in China dates to the Paleolithic era. Archaeologists have found Bian stones, flat, smoothed stones shaped specifically for dragging across skin, in burial sites dating back over 2,000 years. These weren't decorative objects, they were medical instruments. Thus, the technique was formally codified during the Ming Dynasty in the 1300s. A physician named Zhang Fengqi documented it in his clinical writings. He described dragging a smooth-edged instrument across oiled skin until the surface flushed red. He wasn't treating vanity, he was treating disease, pain, fever, stagnation, what Chinese medicine calls blocked qi. But here's the detail that history almost lost. The women of the imperial court noticed something the physicians didn't document. The skin where the stone had been dragged looked different the next morning. Tighter, brighter, more defined. The jawline appeared sharper, the cheeks sat higher. They began adapting the medical technique for the face, using smaller stones, lighter pressure, specific patterns around the eyes, the cheekbones, the forehead. They turned a clinical tool into a beauty protocol, and it worked so well that it became a closely guarded court secret for centuries. Now here's what makes this extraordinary. Travel 4,000 kilometers south to Vietnam. Vietnamese folk medicine developed a technique called Cao Gio. It translates literally to scraping wind. A smooth coin or porcelain spoon is dragged firmly across oiled skin in long, repeated strokes. The purpose? To move stagnant fluid, release trapped heat, and restore circulation. The strokes follow anatomical lines that mirror the lymphatic pathways. They arrived at the same mechanism, independently, without any contact with Chinese imperial medicine. Think about that for a moment. Move further south to Indonesia. Javanese healers practiced kerakan, the same scraping principle, the same tool shape, the same directional strokes across oiled skin. Different island, different language, different century, identical discovery. Mothers in rural Java still practice this on their children today. They don't call it wellness, they call it common sense. Cross the ocean to Japan. The Japanese facial massage tradition, which eventually became the foundation of what we now call kobido, the ancient way of beauty, uses firm, lifting pressure along the exact same lymphatic drainage pathways that Chinese Gua Sha follows. Kobido was developed in the 15th century and was reserved exclusively for Japanese royalty. The tools differ. The anatomical understanding is identical. The results were so prized that Kobido practitioners served directly in the imperial court. And here's the detail that no one talks about. In ancient Greece, as athletes used a curved bronze tool called a strigil after bathing. Its primary purpose was scraping oil and dirt from skin after exercise. But Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine, noted that skin treated with repeated firm scraping appeared healthier, more resilient, and better circulated than untouched skin. He documented this observation in the 4th century BCE. He didn't understand microcirculation. That concept wouldn't exist for another 2,000 years, but he saw the result with his own eyes. 5 civilizations, separated by oceans, centuries, and languages. Every single one independently discovered that dragging a firm, smooth edge across the skin in a specific pattern produces measurable physiological changes. That is not folklore, that is not coincidence, that is convergent empirical proof spanning 2 millennia. When 5 independent cultures arrive at the same answer without communicating, you are looking at chemistry confirmed by human observation across the entire span of recorded history. The mechanism that makes this work wasn't formally identified until modern technology caught up with ancient intuition. In 2007, a researcher at Harvard-affiliated Beth Israel Medical Center named Arya Nielsen published a landmark study. She used a device called a periflux laser Doppler, a tool that measures blood flow in tissue in real time, to quantify what happens during and after Gua Sha treatment. What she found stunned the research community. Everything I've just revealed barely scratches the surface of what the beauty industry has hidden from you. I spent over a decade collecting ancestral beauty protocols, suppressed clinical research, and step-by-step applications that cost almost nothing. Inside the Vitale Vault, you'll find my complete Gua Sha protocol with anatomical maps, my lymphatic drainage morning sequence, my guide to the 12 suppressed ingredients that outperform luxury skincare, and the hormonal skin repair blueprint I developed for women in perimenopause and menopause. The link is in the description. But stay here, because the science behind this technique is about to make the cosmetic procedure industry very uncomfortable. Arya Nielsen's study measured surface microcirculation, the blood flow in the tiny capillaries just beneath your skin, before and after Gua Sha. The result? A 400% increase in microcirculation at the treated site. Let that number sink in. 400%. That's not a marginal improvement. That's a transformation in local blood supply. Why does that matter for your face? Because that blood carries everything your skin cells need to repair themselves. Oxygen, amino acids, vitamin C, the raw materials your fibroblasts use to produce collagen and elastin, the 2 proteins that keep your skin firm, plump, and resilient. When that blood flow is sluggish, which it is in virtually every woman over 45, because declining estrogen during perimenopause directly reduces vascular tone and capillary density. Your skin is literally starving. It has the blueprints to repair itself. It just doesn't have the supply chain. No serum applied on top can fix what's happening underneath. You can pour water on a garden all day, but if the roots are cut off from nutrients in the soil, the flowers still die. Here's the mechanism in plain language. Your face contains a network of lymphatic vessels that sit just beneath the surface. Their job is to drain excess fluid, metabolic waste, and inflammatory byproducts away from your tissue. This system is your face's waste removal service. But unlike your blood vessels, your lymphatic system has no pump. Your heart pushes blood. Nothing pushes lymph. It relies entirely on muscle movement, gravity, and external pressure to flow. When it stagnates, and it does, especially after sleep, after prolonged stress, after the hormonal shifts of your 40s and 50s, that fluid accumulates in your facial tissue. Your face puffs. Your jawline softens and loses definition. Your eye area swells. That crease between your nose and mouth deepens not because of muscle movement, but because of fluid weight pressing the tissue downward. That is not fat. It is not irreversible aging. It is fluid your body can no longer move efficiently. And no one has told you this because the solution doesn't cost $300. When you drag a Gua Sha stone along the lymphatic pathways of your face with appropriate pressure, you are doing manually what your body can no longer do alone. You are physically pushing that stagnant fluid toward the lymph nodes behind your ears and along your neck, where it can be processed and eliminated. The result is visible in minutes, not days, not weeks, minutes. You can do one side of your face, look in a mirror, and see the difference between the treated side and the untreated side immediately. But the benefits go deeper than drainage. A 2012 study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine confirmed that Gua Sha increases the production of heme oxygenase 1, an enzyme with potent anti-inflammatory and cytoprotective effects. In simple terms, this enzyme shields your cells from oxidative damage, the same oxidative damage that every luxury antioxidant serum claims to fight from the outside, at $40 to $90 per bottle. Your body produces this enzyme naturally. You just have to trigger it. And a flat stone dragged across your skin with intention and proper technique does exactly that. There's another mechanism at work that almost no one discusses. The repeated mechanical stimulation of the dermis, the deeper layer of your skin, activates mechanotransduction. That's a fancy word for a simple idea. So your fibroblast cells respond to physical pressure by increasing their metabolic activity. They produce more collagen, more elastin, more ground substance, the gel-like matrix that keeps your skin hydrated from inside. This is the same principle behind microneedling, which dermatologists charge $200 to $700 per session to perform. The stimulation is different. The cellular response is remarkably similar. If you've made it this far, you already know more about lymphatic facial physiology than 99% of women who spend thousands at the dermatologist every year. Subscribe, share this with a woman who deserves to hear it, and check the Vitali Vault in the description for the complete protocols. Now stay with me, because what comes next is the part they really don't want you to hear. And the suppression was not dramatic, it was systematic and quiet, and it was devastatingly effective. The global cosmetic procedure market is projected to exceed $60 billion by 2030. Botox alone generates over $5 billion in annual revenue worldwide. Dermal fillers add another $4 billion. The entire model depends on one word: repeat. Every Botox injection lasts 3 to 4 months. Then you go back. Every hyaluronic acid filler dissolves in 6 to 12 months. Then you go back. Every laser treatment requires maintenance sessions 2 to 3 times per year. Then you go back. The industry doesn't sell solutions, it sells subscriptions to your own insecurity. And every subscription assumes your problem is permanent and your wallet is open. Their entire revenue model depends on one principle. Your skin problem must be managed forever, never solved permanently. Every serum on the shelf is formulated to give you just enough improvement that you buy the next bottle. Every dermatologist visit is scheduled to bring you back next quarter. Every cosmetic procedure is designed with built-in obsolescence. Sound familiar? It should. It's the same model that sells printer ink. Now imagine telling that industry that a flat stone costing less than $1, used for 6 minutes a day, produces visible lifting, depuffing, and skin tone improvement through a mechanism, lymphatic drainage and microcirculation, that no injection can replicate. Imagine telling them that the effect is cumulative, that it compounds over weeks and months, that it requires no appointment, no recovery time, no numbing cream, no follow-up visit, no maintenance fee. That's not a competing product. That's a threat to the entire economic structure of cosmetic dermatology. Here's why it can never be patented. Gua Sha is a naturally occurring technique using naturally occurring materials. You cannot patent a stone. You cannot patent the act of dragging it across skin. You cannot patent lymphatic drainage. So there is nothing to monetize, nothing to brand, nothing to mark up 5,000% and sell in a clinic with ambient lighting and a receptionist wearing all white. What they did instead was subtler. They trivialized it. They called it a wellness trend. They let influencers turn it into an aesthetic ritual. Pretty rose quartz stones, gentle feathery strokes, ASMR videos with no actual technique. They stripped it of its clinical power and repackaged it as decoration. Because a Gua Sha routine done correctly, with real pressure along real anatomical pathways for a real duration, is a clinical intervention. And a clinical intervention that costs nothing is the one thing a $16 billion industry cannot allow to be taken seriously. The luxury skincare brands did something even more cynical. They began selling Gua Sha serums, products designed to be used with the stone, $40, $60, $80 per bottle. The serum does nothing the stone doesn't do alone with a drop of any carrier oil, but it lets them insert themselves into a practice that was deliberately designed to need nothing they sell. You've been paying luxury prices for permission to use a tool your great-grandmother's great-grandmother used for free. Here's exactly what to do, and it's almost insultingly simple. First, Oz the tool. Go to any Asian grocery store, any online marketplace, or any beauty supply store. Buy a Gua Sha stone. BN stone is traditional and typically costs $1 to $3. Jade works, stainless steel works, rose quartz works but is the most fragile. The material matters far less than the technique. Do not spend more than $5. Anyone selling you a $40 Gua Sha tool is selling you a story, not a superior instrument. Second, the oil. You need a thin layer of slip on your skin so the stone glides without pulling. Use any carrier oil you have: jojoba, sweet almond, rosehip, even olive oil. A bottle costs $3 to $5 and lasts months. If you already own a facial oil, use that. Do not buy a Gua Sha serum. There is no such thing. Third, the technique. Apply 5 to 6 drops of oil to one side of your face. I hold the stone at a 30-degree angle to your skin, almost flat with the edge making contact. Start at the center of your chin. Drag the stone along your jawline toward your ear with firm, steady pressure. Not painful, but not the feathery nothing you see on social media. You should see your skin flush slightly pink. That's the microcirculation responding. Repeat that stroke 5 to 7 times. Move to your cheek. Start at the corner of your nose. Drag outward across your cheekbone toward your ear. Same angle, same pressure. 5 to 7 strokes. Next, under your eye. Use the gentlest pressure here. This skin is thinner. Start at the inner corner and sweep outward toward your temple. 3 to 4 strokes only. Your forehead. Start at the center between your eyebrows. Sweep outward toward your hairline. At 5 to 7 strokes per side. Finally, and this is the step most people skip, drain your neck. Start just below your ear and drag the stone firmly downward along the side of your neck to your collarbone. This is where your lymph nodes are. This is where all that fluid you just moved needs to go. 5 strokes on each side. The entire sequence takes 5 to 6 minutes per side of your face. Within 3 minutes, you will see a visible difference. The side you've treated will look lifted, more defined, and more awake than the untreated side. Do the other side. Look in the mirror. The woman looking back at you didn't need a $300 Botox appointment to get that result. She needed a stone and 6 minutes. Do this every morning for 2 weeks. The cumulative effect on your lymphatic efficiency, your skin tone, and your facial definition will make the results of your $50 vitamin C serum look embarrassing by comparison. A dermatologist charges $200 to $600 per Botox session 4 times a year. That's $800 to $2,400 annually for a toxin that paralyzes your muscles into temporary smoothness. You just achieved a natural, circulation-driven lift for the cost of a stone you'll use for years. I need to be honest with you about something, because Gua Sha is not magic. It will not erase deep wrinkles caused by decades of collagen loss. It will not replace surgical intervention for significant skin laxity. It will not fix hyperpigmentation caused by hormonal melasma. That requires a different approach entirely. If you have active cystic acne, rosacea during a flare, broken capillaries, or are taking blood-thinning medication, do not use Gua Sha on those areas without consulting your doctor first. Pressing a stone into inflamed skin can worsen those conditions. Realistic results? Visible depuffing and improved skin tone from day 1. Noticeable improvement in jawline definition within 7 to 14 days of daily use. Meaningful, lasting change in skin texture and firmness within 6 to 8 weeks. You will not look 25. You will look like the best, most rested, most vital version of yourself. And that, frankly, is worth more than any injectable ever promised you. Chinese imperial women knew this. Vietnamese healers knew this. Indonesian practitioners knew this. Japanese beauty masters knew this. Even Hippocrates noticed it 2,400 years ago. 5 civilizations, separated by everything except the truth, all arrived at the same answer. Drag a smooth stone across the skin, move the fluid, feed the cells, watch the face transform. Your grandmother's grandmother didn't need a cosmetic dermatologist. She needed her hands, a smooth stone, and 6 minutes of intention. The knowledge was always there. It was taken from you, not by accident, by design. Over $16 billion in annual cosmetic procedure revenue depends on you never learning what you just learned in this video. $5 billion in Botox revenue alone depends on you believing that a neurotoxin injected into your facial muscles every 90 days is the only path to a lifted, youthful face. It's not. It never was. And somewhere in a boardroom you'll never see, someone is calculating exactly how much revenue this video could cost them if enough women share it. This tool didn't disappear because it stopped working. It disappeared because it worked so well that an entire industry had to pretend it was nothing more than a wellness fad. A pretty stone for Instagram photos, not a clinical technique backed by 2,000 years of empirical proof and modern microcirculation research. Subscribe. Share this with every woman you know who has spent hundreds on procedures that promised what a $1 stone delivers for free. Every share puts a crack in the wall they built around knowledge that was never theirs to hide.